Hello everybody, welcome to a little extra eating piece today. This is May 1st, and so I wanted to answer a question that I thought was so good. I just wanted to share it in the regular eating piece videos that I always offer up, and it's the first day that we're beginning the next round of eating peace process with all these people jumping in, small group, very concentrated, sharing together our search for peace when it comes to compulsion, which can be so tricky and seem so hard, but it is possible for anyone. So that's what I wanted to speak to today. It's really interesting. It's a Wednesday at the time of this recording. My day's pretty full and active. I have solo sessions scheduled throughout the day and a group class later on. And there's a lot of activity. I even have in-person clients coming later today, a couple of them. I do a lot of work with people on Zoom, but in person sometimes. And there's all this construction activity out in my backyard. So there's calling voices, and there's a radio playing, and there's trucks that suddenly move in and out, and there's a really loud crash at one point, like a thud, as if, and the house is reverberating. And I decided I'm going on right in the middle of all this. Because isn't that what it's like in our minds and hearts when we feel the desperation of compulsion? It's like there is noise and activity and feelings and surges and things pulling our attention in a certain direction. We feel like we are locked in on an idea about eating food. We begin to get so locked in on that idea to go eat the food, whether we're hungry or not, that we become fixated on that one thing. And we know it's painful. It's like being tortured on the inside. It's like having a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and lots of voices yelling at you about what's the right way to do this. And I need to fix this. Like I said, if you're somebody who watched my recent webinar, one of the thoughts, or right here on Eating Peace videos, one of the thoughts that really come between us and relaxing when it comes to our compulsion is, this is urgent. This is an urgent matter. Either I need to fix this weight problem immediately, I need to get the food immediately, I need to stop feeling badly immediately. Everything's got like this immediate, emergency, it's urgent, tagged on the tail end of it. It's like everything becomes anxious. So here's what I wanted to share today. It doesn't matter if you're ever in a program to deliberately look at thoughts or question anything or share with other people about eating, because you're always going to be ultimately on your own journey. Yes, of course, you're going to have your whole life, what you've done with food and eating and what you will do in the future with food and eating, and this interesting journey of being in a body that needs food to eat, to live. It does need food to eat too, but you need food to live. So ultimately, yeah, we're going to come back to ourselves. And I thought, just to find a little peace today, who knows how effective that can be in your experience around food and eating immediately, right now, as you're watching this video, no matter what you've done with food or eating. You might even be eating while you're watching this video. I certainly used to. I'm reading a book on recovering from eating disorders, and I'm eating. So let's just not even worry about that. Let's not decide that we're so terrible and wrong and that this is an emergency and I'll never stop. Can you just be with what you're experiencing today and notice it all? Because there is one part of you that is in it and gets locked in on, I've got to go get that food from the store that's in that shiny package and it's my favorite kind of thing in the mouth and I got to eat it. There's only one thing that gets fixed on that. There's one part of your mind that is in here, ready to protect you, ready to help you forget about the bad problems from yesterday, to not focus on what you're not doing right. It just helps you get away from it all. And there's many choices besides food that can help you get away from it all. Watching TV, looking at emails, overworking, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. There's cleaning. Suddenly I have to clean instead of do that thing that I wanted to do, Just noticing. And if you happen to have eating as your thing, that was mine, number one. It's very pleasurable, so there's, an understanding. Brings a lot of pleasure. Okay. There's only one part of you that is like that. So you can say, a part of me is concerned with consuming. A part of me wants to grab. A part of me is desperate. What does a grabbing person do? What is a grabbing, like a binge eating, what is that energy like? It's sort of panicked, right? It's very isolating. It's very much like, I'm going to get it for myself and I don't care, and I'm going to pay for it later and I don't care anyway. It's got an anxiety, it's got a fear level that's incredible in it sometimes. Binge eating. There's also graze eating that has low level anxiety. But just noticing something's going on, and the mind is getting pulled towards that as a protection measure. So you can also notice that there's another part of your mind that is watching this whole thing. And there's a judger. And that's only a part of your mind, the one that's judging, that's saying, what the hell is wrong with you that you're doing this again? See, you will never get this. On Monday, I'll start. On Monday, I'll start. I'll figure it out then. I can't take all this chaos and we'll just shut it down on Monday, on January 1st, like so many people think. So there's a judging part. There's a fixated part on avoidance. And there's an observer who really can watch the whole thing. And in some ways, this is about just feeling that all this, some of it completely opposes the other. It feels absolutely chaotic, and you don't even know what to do. Here's my question. Can I just be with this? Can I notice that it is okay not to know what to do today in this moment? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to join a program. I don't have to not join the program. I don't have to figure the whole thing out immediately right now today. That probably isn't even possible. But I can just be with this. Can I be with this like I'm on a roller coaster ride? You have no control over the end. You want to get off the ride in the middle, you can't. It's not possible. You just have to wait. So I remember going to Disneyland with my little daughter and my son, and she was only about 8 years old, and we waited for an hour for the Space Mountain roller coaster. I was remembering how great it was. I had gone on it when I was 12. I had only been to Disneyland once in my life. And now here I was, 30 some years later, going with my children. And we waited for an hour for this ride. And when we got on, she was absolutely flipped out, terrified. And I knew, even with my daughter, there's nothing I can do. We can't stop the ride. We've waited for so long and it was over in like 2 seconds. But there's nothing you could do. So there's part of you knowing, relaxing. It can feel like you're not relaxed if you say, get off this ride. I can't wait till, just your entire body tensed up. And that the only thing that's going to allow peace or freedom in that moment is actually eating the food. Like then, I've got this in, okay, now we're underway, and then I'll figure this out tomorrow on Monday or whatever. So there's just certain wisdom in all of that, but there's something that happens with all of it. But just to not judge yourself so desperately. Can I just be with what is going on? There's a judger. There's the one that wants and is desperate. There's the one observing. Can I pause for a moment and notice all these things are happening? If you can, and it's kind of a big step, so don't expect yourself to be able to do it immediately. Can you write down your thoughts? Can you write them down when you have a craving? Can you write them down after you've already eaten? Can you write them down while you are eating? Can you pause in the middle and write, I can't stand this, here we go again, I can't believe I'm doing this. What do you wish would change? What do you think should happen? What do you think shouldn't be happening? What is your mind screaming at you? And then what is your mind, not the urgent one that thinks everything's an emergency all the time, if you're like me, but if you really ask a part of your mind, and not the judger either, that's just completely hypercritical and perfectionist, but just saying, really, 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 oh mind, is it true that I'm not safe in this moment? Is it true that I need to know something? Is it true that I need to get something that is not available to me today? Who would I be without my story? That I have to know what's going on, that I'm missing something, that I have to eat that thing, or any of the stuff that's being shouted. Who would I be without my story that I have to lose 30 pounds today? Because it's not even possible. Just like not being able to stop the roller coaster ride at Disneyland in the middle of the ride, it's not possible to lose all the weight you want to lose today. It's not how it works. But I can relax with my thinking today. And it doesn't mean the thinking stops. It's just, can I interrupt that the speed of the pattern of reaching and moving towards, it's more like the energy. It doesn't even matter exactly what you're eating. I know I mention this from time to time, but I will never forget the young woman, my heart just went out to her, who went away to go be in a quiet place by herself and try to sort out her own mind, and found the only thing available to eat was frozen peas in an old freezer. There was a box of frozen peas, and she was eating them in a compulsive way. She didn't even have the means to cook them, so it was just like chewing and grinding and shoving. It was the how she did it, the energy of it, feeling desperate and like I have to do something with this energy. So just who would you be without the thought? You have to express it in that particular way. You can't handle the feelings. What else? The minute I have felt like I can find a tiny drop of who I would be without the thought, I can't handle what's going on here. The minute that happens, I might find what else it is that I'm thinking that gets a little clouded and covered up when we're just in the middle of all the chaos. What else is going on? It's almost like if you had the dearest, most compassionate advisor ever in the world asking you, what else is going on, honey? What else is upsetting you in your life? What else do you think you need to be doing today? What are your shoulds? What are your shouldn'ts? There'll be other things there that do not have to do with only food and eating. Some of them will, some of them won't. But you might have a list, and it might not be as long as you thought it was. There might be things that you just continuously feel alarmed at. If you're like me, you continuously feel alarmed about them. You know, money coming and going, if I'm going to survive, if I'm succeeding or not in just about any endeavor or project. If the house is clean enough, or tasks that need to be done. But it's like the energy of it, how I am thinking about these things, that it's critical, that it's a must, that it should happen, that there's no success without it. So it's either the judger or the desperate one. Let's just sit back. What I notice when I do sit back and when I let those voices be there, let the craving be there, don't fight it. Let the judging one be there. Don't have an argument with that one. Let it be there today. You can find a little sense of peace. Can you find a little sense of peace that nothing needs to be done today? In fact, doing nothing is really what we're looking for. Doing nothing is what we really want. And all these efforts to find peace around our compulsions, we think we need to do something. And sure, if sure, we want to do something differently than we're doing with food. But let's just do nothing. It's strange. It's a strange surrendered feeling. It's like, what? But if you just paused and waited and relaxed and calmed down, it's like what true meditation really is. It's just doing nothing, even in the presence of those kinds of thoughts. So even in the presence of all the activity that happens to be going on, I just forgot all about it. And then now there's some guys on the front porch, and there's a saw going on in the backyard, and there's all kinds of activity, and there's doors slamming, so more things are happening with construction in the backyard. But I didn't remember it for a moment. Just really sitting, relaxed, being with what is, and you all probably can't even hear it. So just noticing, who would I be without the thought that there is a problem today? And I mean that in every way, even with my weight being as it is, with my clothing fitting the way it does, with my everything I've ever done with candy. Who would I be without the thought that I can't handle what's going on in life today and that there's a problem? Just let yourself relax. Can I just be with it without trying to solve the problem today? All right. Let me know how it goes. Lots of love.